What's going on, y'all? This is Mike Brown, and I just wanted to say thank you for tuning into this week's episode of The Art of Letting Go. If you've been enjoying the show, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. And also leave a comment on whatever streaming platform that you're listening on and let other people know what you think. Also, I got some cool merch to give away. So if you leave a voicemail on the voicemail line, letting me know what you think about the show, letting me know just your thoughts, anything you want to share, you get a chance to win some merch. So please hit me up. Yo, what up? This is Mike Brown, and this is The Art of Letting Go. Today, I have two special guests on the show. And shout out to y'all for coming on the show because this is Women's History Month. So it's great to have two amazing women on my show. I've been on your show.
Thanks for gassing us up early in the conversation.
Not at all. It's no gas. I'm
like, let me make sure I look as good as I feel right now. Go ahead, continue.
Y'all had me on y'all show. We met doing an episode of Frank and Sincere together, which was really dope. But I wanted to give y'all the opportunity to introduce yourselves to the people because we're going to get into what you do, but I really wanted you to introduce yourselves to the people.
All right. Well, Rita, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick us off here.
I was going to let you go, but it's okay. I'll go. So my name is Sharita. I am one half of Confidence and Confusion podcast. I am also a live event and entertainment producer for festivals and events. What else do? I got a couple different entrepreneurial projects. One of them is gratitude goals, which is pretty much a daily reminders to be grateful. So it's like text messages every day. You get a text just with a little reminder to remind you to be grateful. I am a mom and I currently live in New Orleans.
Ooh. That was good. Okay, let me see if I can be equal to how amazing that sounded. And so I'm LaToya. I am the other half of Confidence and Confusion. I would say I'm a filmmaker, so writer, director, producer. People hire me to run their sets and make sure that we stay under budget. And of course, make some great, dope projects. So for example, I have a short film called In Her Words that's currently on Quayle TV and Amazon Prime. If you've ever checked out Black and Privileged, that was on Netflix. That was produced by myself and the team. And then also in my daytime, I like to call myself a corporate America disruptor. So I'm all about diversity, equity, and inclusion and making sure that we create a space in which people that look like us and anyone who really, is in a place of my voice isn't being heard gets a chance to express themselves and be authentic at all times.
Go best friend. That's my best friend.
That's so dope. Before we get too far in the episode, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that is listening. If this is your first time listening or your 127th, because it's going to be episode 127.
Come on with that.
Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, like, share. Please leave a comment. You just don't know how helpful all of those things are. So thank you all for tuning in this week. But how are you ladies doing today?
We're great. Wait, and Mike, we have to say thank you for having us on your show.
Yes.
As you mentioned, when we first met during the roundtable, it was an instant vibe, and it was an instant. We fell in love with you. We were like, Mike got to come on our show. So just thank you for allowing us to be on yours.
Of course, I'm happy to have y'all. And
127. Wait, I'm sorry. Yes. Episode 127. Okay, you're giving me so much hope right now because we're still in our infancy.
y'all got it though.
That's like goals. Wow.
Y'all got it. Trust me. Like every time I've listened to y'all episodes, they just keep getting better and better.
Thank you.
I wanted to start by asking y'all, how did y'all start your podcast?
So I'll let you the story tell that story.
Yeah. So this podcast started back in junior high because that is how long we've been friends.
Wow. Okay.
But really, so with Confidence and Confusion, and we like to refer to it as the yin and the yang. It's the balance of life, right? As we move through this life journey, as we become adults, as we are adults, we experience what life has to offer. And a lot of that comes with having confusion along the way, not being sure of who you are or what you want or what you desire. But as you continue to nurture those relationships, as you continue to pour into self-care and self-awareness, moves you closer to confidence. And so something that Rita and I talk about on a daily basis, because we are real life best friends. It's just really, how do we hold each other accountable in becoming our best selves, and, and being able to pour into others as we want others to pour into us. And so confidence and confusion actually has existed without the structure of a podcast for several years for us. And then last year during the pandemic, we got to the point where we were like, why aren't we sharing these conversations and these gems that we're dropping for each other, and helping to coach each other through overcoming life challenges? Why aren't we sharing this with other people who might be experiencing similar things? And so really the pandemic, as challenging and as messed up as the pandemic is or was, I don't know where we are, because some people wearing masks in certain states, others aren't. But it forced us to sit still and actually focus on something that we had been wanting to do for some time. And so that's really what has brought us to season 2 of Confidence and Confusion.
That's so dope. And the way you delivered that, the way you delivered that was confidence and clarity. So I appreciate you sharing that.
I'm going to be snapping off throughout this. I'm glad I got some lotion on my fingertips.
How is it work? Because I started this podcast working with a friend, and it's beautiful to hear that y'all hold each other accountable. For me, working with a friend at that time in my life, it was kind of challenging to hold my friend accountable, because, when you feel like you're not confrontational, and I put air quotes in that, everything feels like it can be a confrontation. So in working through accountability, like, how is that process for both of y'all?
Okay, I got this one.
Wait, we using recent examples or old examples?
No, I'm about to use all the examples. And FYI for your audience, I don't know, I have this weird thing where I like to lean into my mic. It's something about it that's like, cathartic for me. But well, like Toya said, we are like real life best friends. So our podcast and what we talk about on a podcast is literally probably like an hour out of the 9 hours a day that we talk to each other. So, we have our moments, but we have been friends for so long that we kind of know each other's energy. We kind of like, we really do have like a yin and yang kind of thing going on, and we kind of flow. And so we know when to give each other space. We know when to confront and when not to confront. Sometimes, I just need to take a breather and then come back, because we both, we're women
and we're alpha women.
Alpha women. Yeah. Alpha women. So, things can get a little intense, but we never let it go too long, and we don't let it go too far. So go ahead.
I was just going to say in what has been successful for us, because we don't agree on everything. Sometimes our vision and our approach and something as simple as just, what a post may look like can cause us to have, differing of opinions. But what we have worked on behind the scenes that has allowed us to be strong business partners is our communication. And being able to, like Rita said, we'll give each other space, but we don't allow it to linger too long where we can't circle back, because one, I love her, this is my family. But two, I also believe in confidence and confusion. And so it's recognizing that this is greater than us. And if we need to shift perspective, if we need to, give some room, even if I'm like, I don't know, I'm not 100%, feeling this, but if this is what you think is right, I'm gonna trust you. And that's what we're going to go with. You have to be willing to flex. And I think that's something you need to be able to do in life at all. If you're looking for, some satisfaction or joy, you can't be rigid at all times. You got to be able to bend a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, I don't agree with stuff, but I fall back and be like, whatever, because it's like this is a partnership. We want to be happy within the confines of the podcast and our business, and also in real life. Like when this podcast is over and nobody's listening and looking, like this is still my best friend. So
that's
hey,
so
best
real.
friend, you cute.
Oh, and we gas each other up a lot.
As you should. That's so dope. Have you guys ever recorded a podcast like together, like in person?
Oh, we did once, sometimes.
Okay.
Once, right? Once or maybe twice. Whenever I go to Chicago, because I'm originally from Chicago, she's still in Chicago. So I think maybe once last year during the pandemic, I went up there and we recorded together. Yep.
Wow. So how has it been? Because I mean, for me, my show started as like an in-person show and transitioned to being remote. And now I'm feeling like I want to go hybrid with that and do some remote stuff, some in-person stuff. But how has it been for you guys, like just doing majority of your stuff remotely?
Well, I was gonna, it actually has been to our advantage. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of our guests that we've had weren't necessarily local to Chicago or local to New Orleans. And so it, really put us in a position to, think outside the box of who we wanted to bring on our show and give us that flexibility to be able to do so. I would also say the other piece is that this baby was born in a pandemic. This is a pandemic podcast, right? So we really don't even truly have full grasp on what an in-person podcast experience is for Confidence and Confusion, with the exception of an episode that we did last year. So that is part of our season 3 strategy that we're starting to bake out is, how do we now give this even more life and legs beyond, the virtual experience that we've created, because Rita is in New Orleans and I'm here in Chicago. So,
yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. That's fun because, my background is in live events and entertainment. So I'm really excited to like make that happen. So, yeah.
And the one thing, the one thing I would add is, because I tell people this all the time, is that, based on how 2020 has gone and now here we are in 2021, it's really thinking outside the box to still get things done. And, luckily technology has allowed, you have your phone in your hand, you can really do any and everything that you want to, if you put the work behind it. So I'm just simply saying that if there's somebody listening to your show who's thinking of, I want to start a podcast and I'm not sure to get started, I would just say, just do it and go from there.
Yeah. And it does not have to be perfect because, what we started from
the bottom, and I didn't even have light. My stuff was, I was looking like I was in the basement. If you from the 90s era.
Trust me, I definitely understand that journey of figuring things out. And I appreciate y'all sharing that because it makes me think about something you say in your intro that really stands out to me, because I feel like I'm in that phase, but you say, just when you have it figured out, you don't.
Yeah. Just when you think you have it figured out, you're reminded you don't.
Yeah. And that's really like resonating with me in my life right now, because with this podcasting, I feel like I said, I'm over 100 episodes and I feel like I figured it out. But now, as I was telling Toya, I want to grow my business of this, and I don't know how to do it. So I'm having to figure it out, and starting from making those mistakes or like just trying things and it not looking that great and wanting to be better. And I'm curious, what is a time that you thought you had it all figured out and then realized that you didn't?
Who should go first? Can I go first?
You can definitely go first.
When I got married in my 20s, I thought I had it all figured out. I'm sorry, that was on my mind. Yeah, no, get it. When I got married very early and had kids, for me personally, I thought I had it all figured out. But then, you get into it and you realize like, shit, I have no idea what I'm doing. I didn't know what I was doing to choose. I didn't really realize the magnitude of what it really takes to sustain something like that. So for me, that was my moment.
I'm trying to think of what's the simplest answer, because it's such a great question, and it's such, for me, it's there's some complexity to it because I'm still figuring it out. What it is continues to evolve, which is why we have that right when you think you do, because life's journey is definitely not a straight path. It is a lot of ripples and peaks and valleys. I would say for me, now that I am later in my years, I appreciate the journey that I've experienced because it has kind of made me who I am today. I'm a bit more fearless versus being fearful. Things that used to constrain me, I certainly am more open to think outside the box. That's actually one of the ways in which I got into the film industry. Because I've been in corporate America most of my adult life. But it was me taking a chance on something that I felt was part of my purpose and part of my passion. And, even though I hadn't gone to school for it, I was just like, if you only get one life, at least in my perspective. So if you don't go for it, then that's a missed opportunity. And you'll always look back and thinking I shoulda, coulda, and woulda. And so just, taking that one moment of having faith and removing that self-doubt has tremendously changed my trajectory of what I've done in my life over the last several years. So what I would say is confusion happens when there's a lack of clarity. When you are intentional and have clarity on you're focused on what it is you desire, that changes that moves the pendulum, I will say, and moves you closer to confidence. And that's what Rita and I try to do on a daily basis in trying to save each other from the land of confusion, to really talk through and ask the questions that we kind of gain from our therapy and sessions unofficially, to really help each other uncover like what it is you desire, what it is that you want, what is really at the core of your struggle or your challenge. And then as your friend, how can I help remove that barrier, or at least support you through that process?
Yeah. That's what's up. And I'm glad you mentioned therapying, because that is something that, honestly, that's how this podcast started, was from me needing to go to therapy and it being too expensive. But now I'm back in, and I know you guys are on your own therapy and journeys as well. But because Sharita, you are in therapy, or you have been going?
I dabble in that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little more on the on the end where I don't. I guess I don't not so much need it so much anymore, but it's not. Yeah. I'm a little. I don't know how to say it. I've kind of progressed a little bit to now where I can just kind of manage on my own a little bit. So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
Toya, how has your journey been? Because it just started, right?
It did just start. And I will say, so Sharita's always been pro therapy. And I would be like, I don't understand why you would need to talk to somebody, because one, I'm giving you all this amazing advice for free. So what else could they tell you that I haven't told you?
Wait, can I say something? It's so funny that she brings that up, because, I would be like, my therapist said, she'd be like, I just told you that last week. Like, I just said that. So that's funny. It's true.
Yes.
That's funny.
And then also my mindset about therapy, I would say, was from a very immature standpoint. I didn't have enough context of really understanding the value of therapy. But for me, what led me into becoming a believer, I would say, is that I was starting to experience a lot of stress and anxiety from my corporate experience. And I was finding myself unable to actually have control around those experiences. And I wasn't slapping folks, y'all. I wasn't doing nothing crazy in the workplace.
I was trying to get her to, though.
I thought about it, but I didn't. But I was just finding that I was struggling in my personal life, and I wasn't able to really be myself. And so that was a way that I thought that, I've tried a lot of things and I'm still having the same outcome. Let me try something different. and the different was therapy. And so in this process, what I appreciated is it is important that you connect with a therapist that works for you. My first therapist was an Asian male, and I gave him a chance. I was just like, I don't know how much we're going to be able to connect here, but let's see how this goes. And he gave me some good tips. Now, again, what I was looking for was someone similar to myself. So I did desire a Black female therapist, which I did eventually connect with. And it's been such a great experience because being able to, one, speak to someone who has either similar understanding of certain things where I don't necessarily have to go into full depth to understand the complexity of what I'm trying to describe. But then also just the cultural awareness, trying to articulate to someone who is not a Black woman in corporate America, this is how I'm feeling. They're going to be like, okay, is this you or is it them? Being able to then say that to someone else who is similar and dynamic, they can challenge my thinking, but they also know that there is some truth to what it is that you are describing, because I'm hearing this from my other clients who are in a similar capacity. So it's been liberating. It's been something I look forward to when my therapy sessions are scheduled, because I now know I have a safe space where I can show up and get the gook out so that I can really be a better person to my family and friends, and they don't have to experience that.
I have a question for y'all. What advice would y'all give to someone that's either thinking about getting in therapy or, inquiring about it, but kind of scared as well? Like, what advice would y'all give to someone?
Just do it.
I feel like if I say anything longer than that, I've said too much.
You're worth it.
Yes, just do it. You're worth it. And I would say be open-minded. Like don't go into therapy with limitations. Go into therapy thinking of what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up.
And do your research. Just, that.
Yes.
I'll quickly say this. A lot of people that I've spoken to who have gone therapy, the ones who have had good experiences was because they stayed with it. Even if they encountered a bad first time therapist or therapy session, it's like, it's a relationship. So that first time out the gate, that second or third time, it may not connect, but don't be afraid to stick with it. Don't be afraid to change your therapist if you're not getting what you need. But it's not a quick hidden fix. It is going to require work and investment from you to get out of it what you need.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It is, like she said, a relationship, so you still have that period of building trust. To just see if this person, how does this person handle me, and I absolutely agree. Don't be afraid to change therapists. And me being a little more experienced in therapy, you outgrow your therapist. Like you were with me for this part of the journey, and now I need something else. And so, don't be afraid to sever that tie and just, seek somebody else.
I think that's all amazing advice. And just to kind of add to what both of you said about the relationship, I think something to do with the therapist when you feel a disconnect is communicating. Yeah. I recognize for myself, I've had therapists that I didn't feel connected to. And then as soon as I expressed that I didn't feel connected, it made us explore why I didn't. Mm-hmm. And then it started making me look at how I handle other relationships and how, it all translates. It's an interesting experience, and I definitely recommend it to anyone. I do.
Yes. And remember that therapists are people too. Like they're people too. They have biases, they have, so on and so forth. So I think you made a really great point in communicating when you feel a disconnect or whatever, because then it, allows them to be human and get into it. So
that's what's up. I got 3 more questions for y'all, and then I have another section for us. But first I wanted to ask, what is one reminder Actually, what is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
You need me to go first?
I'm trying to think of which Drake line do I want to use.
Well, I'll give you that moment to think through that. And I'll say the one piece of advice I would give my younger self is to trust yourself and take your time. Whatever is meant to be is going to be. Just trust the process, essentially.
Yeah. You know what I would give? So I feel like I'm going to be a bit hard on my younger self. I would tell my younger self to do your self-work early. Like it, sometimes we say your 20s is your period to figure, just to kind of figure it out, but not really figure it out. And then when you get to your 30s, but I would really want to go back and tell my younger self, like, enjoy this time, but this is where you could really start to begin learning yourself and learning what's important to you. Because I can be transparent and say in my 20s, I knew who I was, but I didn't really know who I was. And now that I have more perspective, that would be something that I feel would be valuable for me to go back and encourage my younger self to be a bit more thoughtful and intentional in that area. And make that money, girl.
Yes, make that money, girl. Yes.
Make that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave these fuckboys alone. Make that money.
Yeah.
That's what's up. What's one reminder that you guys would like to set for your future selves?
Oh, keep going, girl. You got this. That's for me. Like, you on the right path. You know who you are. You trust your vision. You got this.
Absolutely. And Mike, I was sharing this with you earlier. I would say mine is live intentionally. Like, that is my core reminder of my decision making, what I align myself with, who I align myself with, is living through the intentional lens. That's
what's up. And my last question is, what brings both of you freedom?
Oh, I'm gonna go. For me, it's having control of my time. Like, I am happiest when I can wake up when I feel like it, move when I feel like, not so much feel like it, but when I have control over that, when I want to do that. So being in control of my time is what gives me freedom.
I must just be really feeling good because I had a good joke for that question.
Say the joke.
I was gonna say smoking is what brings me. Stimulating your mind is what gives you freedom.
That's good too. That's a good one.
Right.
But I definitely agree with Rita as far as just really having ownership over your life. How you choose to spend your time and who you choose to spend your time with is certainly where I do feel I have the greatest sense of control and accountability over my life and my freedom. And so, I would just tell anybody, if you are surrounding yourself with things that don't bring you joy or happiness, that's a great time to reassess. One, why have you surrounded yourself with these things? And two, how important to you is it to remove those things so you can get closer to the joy and happiness you desire?
Yep. And I want to add to that, it's possible. It's never too late. No matter what age you are, no matter how far or how deep in the shit you are, it's never too late. Like, you can literally wake up tomorrow and say, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to fool with these people no more. I don't want to whatever. And you absolutely have every right to choose that, no matter who else it may hurt. Sometimes you have to choose yourself. So yes.
And I'll piggyback to that. So, I spoke about what led me to my therapy journey was my corporate experience. And I made a choice. I actually left that organization that I was at for an extensive amount of time, but I had to choose myself. And, you'll have the naysayers. You'll have family and friends who will pour their fears and concerns into you, because of course they want the best for you. But, I say that to say that when you know the right time for you to do something or make a decision, sometimes you have to be willing to make it on your own, by yourself, and for yourself, and let everybody else catch up along the way. But you gotta choose self, especially if we're talking about mental well-being and mental health, because no one knows what you yourself are enduring, behind closed doors and when you're by yourself. And so you got to start with self before you can be able to give to others.
Yep. I was going to add that we all know how painful it feels to be alone in those moments, and it's just what anybody else has to say, what anybody else think about it, what anybody else is telling you to do, none of that matters, because that's you that's in that moment feeling that shit. So yep,
for real. I appreciate y'all sharing that.
Absolutely.
No problem.
So my next segment is sponsored by Feel Free to Feel Free, and it is called the 5 Questions of Freedom. So I'm going to ask y'all 5 questions, and one of y'all or both of y'all can answer, and you can answer as fast as you can. So our first question is, what episode should people check out today of y'all podcast?
18. Lori Harvey and the Double Standards.
I second that.
Okay. Yeah, I was listening.
And Confidence and Confusion,
too, so
YouTube, Twitter, but we doing it, and then also on Instagram, Confidence and Confusion.
Yes. New Orleans or Chicago?
New Orleans.
Chicago. Chicago.
It's 75 degrees outside right now, so I'm gonna say
throw the weather away.
Okay, well, if you throw the weather away, then maybe that money is in Chicago.
So this question made me think about our episode, but growth mindset or fixed mindset?
Growth.
That's what's up. I agree. Your dream guest for the show, who, anybody, dead or alive, would you want to have on your show?
I'm always go with Auntie Michelle Obama. That's just where I'm going to start.
Oh man, me? Oh my gosh, there's so many.
And Whitney Houston.
I'm gonna let her have that because I got way too many. I want Bob Marley, Marvin Gaye, everybody. So
that's what's up.
Michelle, if you're listening, Michelle Obama, if you're listening, call us.
Oh, and I was
saying, when she come on the show, I'm gonna put this clip out.
And I would add Amy Winehouse. I'm very curious to know, her inner stuff. So I think that would be a great therapy in 2.0 session.
I think almost everybody y'all name would be great therapy conversations, especially like you said, Amy Winehouse, Whitney, Marvin Gaye, those would be amazing.
Yeah,
sure. And Beyonce, because I would really want to know. Yes. Can I just say this really quickly? I'd be really wanting to know, does Beyonce do regular people shit? Does she, does she, you know what I mean? Does she wash clothes or do she just throw them away and there's a new set in her drawer? I just want to know, what is her normal life looking like?
That's hilarious. And I got one more for y'all. Confidence or confusion?
Confidence.
I agree. Yeah. I appreciate y'all so much for being on the show.
This was
Can
fun.
Y'all please, I had fun too. I really did. Can y'all please let the people know where they can find y'all?
Facebook and Instagram at Confidence and Confusion, and on Twitter at But We Doing It. Yeah.
Hit that subscribe button, share, tell a friend, tell your family members, follow us. We mentioned episode 18, but we definitely have a lot of episodes that we know you would love and enjoy. And of course, you got to check out the one with Mr. Mike Brown from The Art of Letting Go.
Yes. Thank y'all so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun, Mike, and so proud of you. So, keep up the amazing work, making a difference in people's lives. You certainly make, you make a difference in our lives. So you don't even realize it sometimes, just based off the conversations that you have with your podcast, of how impactful it is. So, just keep
appreciate
the
that
tremendous work that you're doing.
Y'all too. Like, I really love. I was listening to episode 18 this morning when I was in the shower. So I really am tuned into y'all. Y'all have an amazing show. Listeners, please check this show out. It's called Confidence and Confusion. Thank y'all for listening to this episode. This is Mike Brown, and this is The Art of Letting Go. Peace. Thank y'all for tuning into this week's episode of The Art of Letting Go. If you enjoyed what you heard, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast wherever you would like to. Let other people know what you think by leaving a comment wherever you listen to this podcast, whatever streaming platform you're on. If you want to support the podcast a little bit more, I have a Patreon. Also, I have some really cool merch, but subscribe to the Patreon. It's pretty low, $3 a month, all the exclusive content of this show, unreleased episodes, behind the scenes stuff, and some exclusive events and stuff that we're going to be doing. So thank y'all for listening. Peace.